Sehat is an example of an Indonesian who not only thrives but succeeds abroad through focus, hard work and entrepreneurial spirit. In him, I see the dedication and persistence that make successful innovators and entrepreneurs so inspiring. His passion for electrical engineering that started at an early age took him to the US, where he continued his education and where he made his passion his career. In 1995, together with his wife and his brother, Sehat founded Marvell Semiconductors. Since then, the company has grown worldwide, employing over 7,000 people in design centers in China, Europe, India, Singapore, Japan, amongst many, while its headquarters remains in Santa Clara, California. Marvell Technology Group is a producer of storage, communications and consumer semiconductor products. Today, Sehat owns more than 260 patents, and with a philanthropic heart, he also contributes a lot in the area of green technology and education. He's also one of the early proponents of one laptop per child program, which enables children from developing countries to acquire new learning opportunities. Now, the whole world have heard of, Silicon Valley, and you are one of the kings of Silicon Valley. I mean, this is something, that we Indonesians, having somebody like you being there and, one of the, listed distinguished innovators of Silicon Valley. I mean, that's a real achievement, and of course it's through your hard work and dedication and passion. But was that really, was that something that was sort of part of the objective, or was that something that came about just because you followed whatever it is that you were passionate about?
I only knew the word Silicon Valley after I came to the United States. I had no idea about Silicon Valley. I had no idea about where the semiconductor companies were started in Silicon Valley. I had no clue of that, actually.
But in a way, you were very, the right place at the right time, because when we moved to the 90s, this is when sort of the IT revolution started, and we're, seeing sort of a shift towards, .com companies, the internet, and,
Yes.
all these telecommunications, as well as, high-tech
Yes.
era. So tell us a little bit about how you started Marvell Technologies. And
so looking back, if you say I was there at the right time, at the right place, you cannot say it better than that, because I would say, almost missed the boat.
Yeah.
Because by the time I went there, the semiconductor revolution was getting to maturing.
It was
It was
peaking.
maturing rapidly. What you heard about these dot-coms, those were the late stage of the semiconductor revolutions. Actually, in fact, what enables the dot-com era is the advancements in computer technology, made possible by the revolutions of semiconductors. So, meaning that we are at the really, really late stage of the semiconductor revolutions. I was lucky, because when I studied electronics in early 70s, when I was in high school, in SMP.
When you were still tinkering.
Right. I could see the progress of the semiconductor while the technology was progressing. I was there along with the rest of the world, even though I was in Indonesia. And amazingly, I could buy those components in Indonesia. I couldn't even, not looking back, if I was born in another country, I will never have that opportunity.
But tell me about the key to Marvell's success. Obviously, these days in order to be successful in any technological companies, you have to be ahead, always,
Yes.
Very quick when it comes to creativity, innovation coming up, rolling up the new products that everybody can use. I mean, I think your products is basically used by just about all sorts of platforms and everybody, you know, with gadgets. So, but what would you say were the key of the success of the company?
Yes, there are many. Like I can name a few of them. So some of the important ones are that we need to be able to look forward. And the reason is this: in semiconductors, every time you want to build a new technology, it takes time. Sometimes you're lucky 3 years, sometimes takes 4 years, and then if you're not so lucky, it may take 5 years to develop a new technology, especially things that people say is impossible to do. So you need to be able to predict what people will need at the time, and more also equally important, we need to be able to predict what is possible to be built by that time, and be able to build that at affordable prices. Not just possible, but nobody can afford to pay for it. Then you come up with the wrong
you can't make business out of it.
Yeah. So meanings that the important part is we need to be able to challenge ourselves. Not be afraid of coming out with solving new problems. Meaning we have to be an optimist. I guess maybe the better way to say it. So at the same time, we also need to be paranoid that somebody else may be running faster than us. Maybe they are working on the same area, so we have to work harder. So at the same time, the biggest challenge that's facing us is that things becomes more complicated every year. And the reason things become more complicated is because the chip comes about the same size every year, meaning a lot more things that we have to put inside the chip. That's mean a lot more engineers, a lot more planning, a lot more collaborations between the different engineers. And when you're dealing with different engineers, you have different opinions.
With this level of achievement, it's always interesting to note the kind of education and upbringing the person had. I wonder what Sehat was like when he was still at school in Canisius. An old teacher, Ms. Kosasi, shared her memories of the high school student who graduated in 1980.
And in the time of Sehat, so just to force the student to learn, I asked the student to memorize, one of which was the story of Robinson Crusoe. So I asked them to memorize 3 chapters of the Robinson Crusoe in 3 weeks. And most of them passed. Only a few failed. But Sehat, I think, belongs to those who were lucky, so he did not do the remedials. They did not have to do the remedial. That Sehat belongs to one of the wealthiest people in the world makes me very proud and happy. Yeah, like most parents, parents are very happy and proud when the children belong to those who are very successful. And Sehat, we call very, very successful.
He's a bit quiet, yeah. Well, if you go to boys-only school, most of the students are very naughty, and Sehat can be considered, he's more on the calm side, quiet. He doesn't really mingle with all the bad boys. But one thing is that he has a level of confidence that I considered very high. Because for us as a boys only, in school, we always go, especially during teenagers, we always go with the trend. What's the trend at that time? And Sehat at that time, for instance, that most of us remembered, he came to school every day carrying an Ecolux briefcase. Not a shoulder bag or those kind of things. You know, so it's very unique, and he doesn't care whether we make jokes of him or anything. We also heard that he contributed, he donated a lot for the advancement of the university that he went, okay, to continue. So hopefully one day he will also help and support Canisius.